Um, it is true. I would say that there is a certain asymmetry in the nature of the relationship between India and Singapore and India's relations with ASEAN. If I look at the relationship with ASEAN, there has always been this complaint that India does not step up to the plate. It has fairly large resources and it has a very large growing economy, and yet its profile in Southeast Asia is suboptimal. Uh, if you look at a recent study by the ICAS in Singapore, India barely figures in the consciousness of most of Southeast Asia, which is quite unusual. I mean, if as Excellency says that Wang Gungwu thinks that this is the place of the mandalas of China and India intersecting, the India part of that mandala is rather weak, I would say. So if I look at the relationship with the rest of ASEAN, the Indian profile is quite minimal, I would say. Certainly not up to potential. So compared to that, actually, the relationship that we have with Singapore is quite unusual. It is not. It does not, take on the same kind of a character as the rest of ASEAN. So that is something that we on the Indian side have to be worried about. That here is a region which is so important to India, and yet as far as a lot of Southeast Asians are concerned, at least certainly at the popular level, there is not much consciousness of India being an important presence. If you compare it with, say, China, or you compare it with the US or even Japan, India is quite far behind, and that is something which I think is going to be a big challenge for India. And in that respect, of course, Singapore has always played a very important role, in a sense, as a champion of India in ASEAN. So I remember that when we had initially the sectoral dialogue with ASEAN, then it was raised to a kind of a national a kind of a summit level dialogue. Then we established a kind of a strategic partnership. Now perhaps we have a comprehensive strategic partnership. So in the raising of the profile of India in ASEAN, and helping India to have a greater engagement with the rest of Southeast Asia, Singapore has played, I think, a very important role, and I think we should acknowledge that.